another interesting segment on questions from a concerned subscriber. I made a video I think a few days ago, the very first time for on this segment. This is the episode 2. So basically, I want to answer a question asked by one of my subscriber, and she basically, wrote. Asking, she said, "You are the best." Thank you for that. I know that. Uh, can you talk about why he never says "I love you"? He says go by his actions. Do they ever say "I love you"? I'm talking about a real Nigerian man. He's not a scammer. He doesn't like to have emotional conversation or heartfelt ones. We have the best relationship order than when it comes to the talk. He's my person. He says I'm his person, and he feels what I feel when I'm sad. So as you can see, this lady has asked wonderful questions, and I would like to, split these questions into three or more and offer my own opinion. This is my opinion. Okay, so the first one she said, can you talk about why he never says I love you? He says go by his actions. Do they ever say I love you? I'm talking about a real Nigerian man. So what I want to say to this is Nigerian men basically say I love you. No matter how unromantic we are, we definitely say I love you. Even guys who do not love some ladies or some of you who are dating scammers, they also, say I love you to you. So it's not something that we don't say. We say it whether we mean it or we don't mean it. And most people always want to hear, I love you, especially when they're in a relationship, because it gives them this, feeling of reassurance. It makes this individual feel like, okay, this emotion she has for this person is also mutual, and all of this. So everyone would love to hear I love you. Now the big question that got me scratching my head is, what would make a man be in a relationship with a woman and he doesn't say I love you, and rather he says go by his action? Now what actions are we, talking about? Now, is he talking about action from a movie scene? One they say one, two, three, go, action, because it sounds rather strange to me and totally confusing, because I can tell you for sure Nigerian men say I love you a lot. To anyone who has ever had anything to do with Nigerians, even with scammers, the term love is actually being said. It would have been a problem if he says I love you, but then he doesn't, follow up with actions. So that would have been a problem. It would have been a problem, because there are people who say things in words, but then you don't follow up in action. But telling you to follow the action without saying it, it's something I don't think we do in Nigeria. Now, my theory for this is simple. So one, I have once had a case like this, where the reason the man wasn't saying anything affectionate to the partner was because he doesn't want to build our hopes, because he knows he won't be in the relationship for a long time. So to him, doing anything for him, he's doing everything possible just to avoid saying terms like I love you, because he understands the severity of this word, because he doesn't want a situation whereby tomorrow, in case he says okay, I can't continue anymore, or in case he gives you the sign that he's not going to continue. Because one thing you could use to accuse him or level on him is that you would say, but you said you love me, you looked at me and you say you love me. So uh, a lot of guys do this, the moment they're losing interest in relationship, you could tell them I love you face to face, and they could just rather hug you. They wouldn't want to say it, or they could look at you and tell you thank you. If you put it on chats, you could get emoji, you could get thumbs up. Sometimes you get okay, and sometimes most guys who do this, they more or less like don't want to build your hopes, because they are looking for a way out of that relationship already. This is my theory. I have seen cases like this before, and this is what I think could be the case, but who knows? I may be wrong. Okay. So now another question is: he's not a scammer. He doesn't like to have emotional conversation. or heartfelt ones? Okay, so before I say anything, I need to make everyone understand that a scammer is not just anyone who comes to you, in pretense, to collect your valuables. Rather, a scammer is an individual who uses dishonesty, to take something away from you. And yes, when I talk about dishonesty, this includes your time. This includes deceit in making you think that you're in a relationship or you're being loved. Sometimes you're not just being scammed because of your valuables, like your money and stuff. Sometimes you could be scammed by your emotions, because you invested the wrong emotion with an individual who totally led you on. So a scammer could also be in that category. Now, this is not me saying that, okay, this individual is a scammer. No, I'm not saying he is a scammer. So, one thing I know is for sure, if you are dating someone you love, which I believe love is rather some kind of emotional feeling and an heartfelt one. So, how then do you connect with an individual who claims he loves you? Because I mean, love is an emotional feeling. Emotionally, I guess it would be like, running into the brick wall, because I do not understand how you could be in love and yet you can't have emotional connection or conversation. You know, I'm trying to wrap my head around it. When you love somebody, you open up to this individual, you become vulnerable to this individual, because this your vulnerability to this individual is more or less like you making this individual know that, okay, I trust you. That's why I'm opening up emotionally to you and being vulnerable. So if an individual is not trusting you because he doesn't think he should trust you, he may not want to, appear weak to you. And additionally, if he doesn't have feelings for you, he wouldn't want to talk anything emotional, heartfelt. Listen, I'm a guy. If you're talking with a woman you don't like, I'm telling you from the standpoint of a guy. If I'm talking to a woman I don't like, I don't feel attracted to. I don't want to have any heartfelt conversation with her. I don't know how to explain this, but I guess most guys, or most of you, if you've ever been with somebody you don't like or have any physical attraction to, emotional attraction, you don't want to discuss anything heartfelt and emotional, like romantically emotional with this person. You just want to like, yeah, yeah, and be done, and then you go your way. So I'm really trying hard, to basically imagine how you communicate. Also, how do you communicate, especially when you, as a lady, you think you're in love? So how then do you initiate, things like love making if you are, you can't have emotional, heartfelt conversation? Because as a couple, a lot of things, you know must be said, because you're human beings, with different spectrum of feelings, and you have to bring all of these feelings together and talk about it emotionally, get understanding. So this brings me to a point I want to say. Now let me tell you guys something that is very, very common in Africa and Nigeria. Now, African parents are not romantic, or rather, most times you would not even feel like they have an emotional, heartfelt communication. But the reality is that when you look at them, boom, they've produced 11, 12, 9, 8, 5 kids. And you never, see them all lovey-dovey. And for whatever reason, they still maintain a very strong family unit. Now, there are a lot of ladies who, could, meet guys who, came from a very strict home where they don't even understand what love and love connection and emotional display is. You could have this happening. There are a lot of guys who, you know, I mean, we are all product of our environment and culture, right? So there are a lot of guys who, they're just chip of an old block of their parents, and they're yet to evolve into, something different. And a lot are also ashamed, to s- discuss something romantic, or heartfelt, or have a conversation as regards to that. But I tend to think one way or the other, this generation is different from the generation of 20, 30 years ago. That is my thought. So I don't know the background of the couple, the lady who is asking this question, because one bitter truth is, if you're with a Nigerian and you are older than this Nigerian, like there's a significant age gap between both of you, sometimes having emotional connection or emotional conversation with him would be really, really weird. I'm being honest here. When you're talking with a lady who is way older than you know, sometimes having emotional conversation would be very weird. Talking about, not to talk of heartfelt conversation. So this may sound funny, but this may be another reason that could be happening to an individual. I don't know if this lady is older than this guy. So perhaps you may be surprised he doesn't say or use those emotional connection because he doesn't have this connection with you. But I don't know if he would do the same if he was to be in contact with a lady who is like 5 years younger than him. I don't know if this would be the same happening. So another thing I want to point out is that sometimes a lot of ladies do not understand cues. You see, you might have met a Nigerian when he was struggling, and at that point, anything goes because for him, it is about survival. So you see, sometimes hardship in life could make you not to understand, what love is because you just want to come out from whatever situation you're in. And sometimes you have this situation whereby you see an older female, dating a guy who could barely make ends meet, and she's bankrolling him. Now, fast forward a few years along the line, if this individual stands, and then gets a career and is now doing very, very well for himself, by doing well, he starts discovering himself. Now, the problem is when he discovers himself, he may discover that he doesn't want you. He may discover that he doesn't have feeling. He may even discover that he never loved you. He was just there because of what he could get. But because of how much you've helped him in the past, how much you've invested in him, he doesn't know how to tell you this because he doesn't want to break your heart because he knows you've invested so much on him. So what does he do? He starts giving you cues. He starts giving you signals like I am busy. He stopped kissing you. He starts telling you like, I won't join you this week. He wouldn't use the terms he used to use for you before, and he wouldn't want to have any emotional conversation, as the case may be. And this is fair enough for him because he is trying to pass a signal. He's communicating to you when he doesn't say all of these things. But the problem most ladies have is that they fail to interpret the signals. Rather, they start interpreting what he's saying in Greek or in Chinese or in German. They try to interpret it in a way whereby they try to create excuses for this guy why he's acting this way. They don't want to take what this individual is telling them at face value. They just like want to create create excuses like, yeah, he's acting like this, probably he's stressed. No, he's not stressed. He's giving you a sign. He's like telling you, let me go. That's what he's trying to tell you. But he doesn't want to come up to you to say this to your face because you could you could you could hurt yourself. So he's telling you, giving you signs and cue gradually so that you could begin to process it gradually and then you could arrive at a conclusion gradually that he's no longer interested. And the last question I want to answer is, we have the best relationship other than when it comes to the talk. He's my person, he says, and I'm his person. And he feels what I feel when I think when I'm something. So in Nigeria, there's what we call there's what we call friendship zone. And a lot of ladies do not know they are or have been placed in friendship zone until later when they discover that, okay, this is actually where they stand or belong in the life of this guy. I've said in most of my videos that, when you are dating a Nigerian, don't assume for the Nigerian man. Don't assume a position. You need to ask him, where do you stand in his life? You need to ask him, because I've always told you guys something about Nigerian men. Nigerian men, they don't just, come to you and tell you, hey, look, I'm done. It's over. It is over. C'est fini. That's it. It's over. No, Nigerian men would rarely do that. Most Nigerian men would gradually ghost you or go silent. They will start showing you attitude in a lot of things. Attitude, that's what you see. And this attitude they're showing you, they are telling you, read my signs, read my cues, read the signal. I don't need to spell it out for you. But the problem is that Western ladies don't pick the signals. African women understand it. Once an African lady calls a Nigerian man one, two, three, four, 5 times and is giving attitude, the next thing you hear is, why are you sounding like this? Is it because I'm calling you? And she will slam the phone. And you're not going to hear from that lady again until the man calls. But the thing is that the Western ladies, they keep giving excuses. You try to like micromanage the situation. He's acting like this because of this and stuff. No, he has told you he's done. I've told you guys before, African men or Nigerian men would rather climb Mount Kilimanjaro on barefoot than to face you as a lady and tell you that the relationship is over. And that is why sometimes the man you're dating has long left the relationship emotionally and spiritually. What is just happening is that he's waiting for you to understand his actions and define it so that he could pack his physical remains and join his emotions and spirit where he's kept them. So it is always important to discuss your relationship status always with your Nigerian man. Tell him you always want to know how and what it feels for you. If there's a problem, you can talk about it. So I hope this helps. Now, in conclusion, I totally believe that it is better for you to, discover that you're heading to the wrong direction on time so you could come down and retrace your step backward than, getting to the destination and then you discover that it was the wrong destination. My mother would always say, a broken relationship it is way better than a broken marriage. So, listen, this is my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right, but then again, I still think you should talk with your partner. There is a Nigerian lady who is in the comments who is a subscriber. When she read your message, she came to write me on WhatsApp. I was like, uh, should we tell her the truth? Basically, there is something you're not understanding as a Western lady. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. Please throw your questions, and I would make a video for you as a concerned subscriber. So, guys, have a lovely day. See you next on our Q&A section. Home Trade Nigeria. Peace out.